Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man wala, amma ba'du. And today, inshallah ta'ala, we're going to start a new book. And we're not going to deviate from our methodology in learning. Meaning, we're not just going to sit here and discuss this book without first doing it in Arabic. The goal here is to learn Arabic. It's not to just learn a subject in English and think that therefore we've learned something, right? Rather, true learning is in the Arabic language. So this book that we're studying is called Manhaj. Manhaj. Oh, you're right. Manhaj-us-Saalikeen. Right? Manhaj. Not minhaj. This comes from Noon Ha Jeen. Minhaj, they can be used interchangeably a little bit. But manhaj versus minhaj is more so the methodology of something. The methodology. The manhaj is called the path, right? The path or the way that you're following. And of course, they're interchangeable. We're not saying that they're not. The methodology is your path is your methodology. But here, it does not mean methodology in more of the, as such as rules, right? Methodology would be more like rules. First, we're going to do this, and then this, and then this. Whereas path is more general, it seems, right? So here is Manhaj-us-Saalikeen. We have the hadith, the very first hadith we did in the Mutun Talib al-Ilm. من سلك طريقا يلتمس فيه علما سهل الله له به طريقا إلى الجنة. من سلك, whoever travels a path, right? يلتمس فيه علما, who is seeking knowledge in it, right? سهل الله له به طريقا إلى الجنة. Then Allah makes easy for him the path to paradise. So from that hadith, من سلك طريقا, Sin, Lam, Kaf, من سلك. This is our root, meaning whoever travels. So this is the path of the traveler. The path of the traveler. And the book has a longer title.
It's traveler, single.
Travelers.
Okay.
Right? The book has a longer title called Manhaj-us-Saalikeen wa Tawdih al-Fiqh fi Deen wa Tawdih. Right? But it's known as Manhaj-us-Saalikeen wa Tawdih. وتوضيح الفقه في الدين. And توضيح from واو ضا ha. This is form 2. وضح يوضح توضيح, meaning to clarify. Right? From wadih, something being clear. Right? With tawdih al-fiqh, and clarifying al-fiqh in the religion. Right? Manhaj-us-Saalikeen, the path of those who are traveling, or the path of the travelers. With tawdih al-fiqh fi deen, and the clarification or the clarifying of fiqh in the religion. This is the actual name of the book by Abdurrahman ibn Nasr as-Sa'di, Abu Abdullah. He was born in the year 1307, and we're in the year 1440. So we can see it is not that old. right? It's not that old. And he died in the year 1376. Now, I was born in the year 1393. So he died, what, 17 years before I was born. So he's not that long ago. He is the main sheikh of Uthaymeen, rahimahumullah, right? The main sheikh of Muhammad bin Salih Uthaymeen. So this is the book that we're studying, Manhaj-us-Saalikeen wa Tawdih al-Fiqh fi Din, right? By Abu Abdullah Abdurrahman ibn Nasir ibn Abdullah ibn Nasir as-Sa'di, or as-Sa'di, right? Some of them say, and Allah knows best, some of them say as-Sa'di, some of them say as-Sa'di, right? Those that are from the area where he's from, they usually say as-Sa'di. He was born in Qasim, which is the area near Riyadh, where Riyadh is today, right? And that's where he spent most of his life, right? It's not about him, but this is the title of the book, Manhaj-us-Saalikeen wa Tawdih al-Fiqh fi Din by as-Sa'di, or as-Sa'di. We're going to go over Kitab al-Siyam related to the month of Ramadan that we're quickly approaching, right? We are today in what? The 15th day, right? The 15th day of the month of Ramadan. So we have 2 weeks roughly.
We in the 15th day of Ramadan.
Saturday is the 15th day. No. Not Ramadan, of Sha'ban.
Saturday.
Right? Of Sha'ban. It's the 15th of Sha'ban, right before Ramadan.
Okay.
Tayyib. The subject that we're going to be studying is Kitab al-Siyam. Now, before that, a little bit about the book. The book is basically a book of fiqh, and it does not subscribe to any particular madhab. Although, you will find that it's probably more in agreement with the madhab of the Hanabila, the Hanbalis, right? It's more in line with the Hanbali madhab, yet he goes against their rulings in some of these issues because he's not a blind follower of any particular madhab, although he relied heavily upon the Hanbali books in order to produce this book. That's what's in that area. And as well as, you have to realize, when he was born, when he was living, when he was a sheikh, and up until our current time, many books have not been printed before, meaning printed. You know, Sheikh Falah, Allah yahfadahu, when we go to his house, he tells us stories all the time about in the 90s, how before that, in the 90s, many books had to be written by hand. Right? Many books were written by hand in the 90s. They were still being turned into typed or typeset books, and people still in their PhD theses and their master's theses, they go and they get a manuscript and they turn it into a typeset book. And this happened within the last 50 years or so. So during his time, books, if you wanted a book, you had to write it down or pay somebody to write it down. There weren't you didn't just go to the bookstore or the publisher and he would, print off 1,000 copies. That's something relatively new. Even in the English world, it's something relatively new, right? In the Arab world, it's something very new. So this book is relying upon mainly what he had in his library, which is Hanbali books. And inside of it, you'll find that he has very little speech of his own. And so I put the ayat in red, and as we'll see, the hadith in blue, right? And his speech is in between, and his speech is only in supportive of what we find in what's in red and in blue. So he didn't say very much. Some of the hadith he brings, we'll find they're da'if. right? In the book as a whole. I'm not sure about this chapter. I don't remember. But in the book as a whole, you'll find he has some da'if hadith. Some scholars, they give reasons. Number one, he used to write his books from his memory, and he would not review them, right? He didn't necessarily review them the way we do stuff today, because it was just a manuscript, right? Number two, he relied upon whatever he found in the Hanbali books, and they might be a weak hadith in its wording, but its meaning is authentic. And people of fiqh, they don't have the same reliance upon authenticity of hadith as the people of hadith do, right? So they're not so much concerned about the wording as the people of hadith are. And number three, they say that during his time, this is before certain scholars who revived the science of hadith, such as Sheikh al-Albani and Ahmed Shakir and Al-Arnaut, and other than them, this is before their time, and so they just relied upon what was there, and they didn't access the science of hadith as much as we find scholars such as Abdurrahman al-Mu'alimi and other than them did after him. So that's that. As for the books, real quick, of Sheikh Sa'di, he has a majmu'ah. He has someone gathered all his books up in one area, and he has 28 volumes worth of books. 28 volumes, and not small volumes. They're all 5, 6, 7, 800 pages. 28 volumes worth of books that he wrote. This being one of them, Manhaj-us-Saalikeen. Here we are in Kitab al-Siyam. Kitab al-Siyam. What construction is this? What construction is this? Kitab al-Siyam. Linguistically. Huh?
Mudaf ilayh.
Mudaf ilayh. Exactly. Idafa. Mudaf ilayh. The book of fasting. Al-Aslu. And we see this 241. Because basically he just brings a point, and then he mentions something in that point. And before this, in Kitab al-Tahara and Kitab al-Salat and Kitab al-Zakat, he brought 240 other points. That's why we start here with 241. Al-Aslu fihi, meaning the asl in Kitab al-Siyam, the asl in the obligation of fasting. The asl in the obligation of fasting is the ayat, qawluhu ta'ala, his statement, the Most High, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu kutiba alaykum as-siyam kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum. Al-asl, meaning the origin or the foundation. Here, probably more the foundation or the principle in it. Fihi, in it, meaning in the obligation of fasting. Right? Qawluhu ta'ala, his statement. His statement, ta'ala, the Most High. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you who believe, kutiba. Who can tell me something about this verb, kutiba? Just tell me something about it. Past tense, present tense. Huh?
Passive.
Passive. Passive past tense. Kutiba. It has been written. Alaykum. Upon you. Meaning prescribed upon you. Obligated upon you. Right? When a doctor writes a prescription, that becomes his writing is a prescription. Right? And there's an obligation for you to take that if you want to become healthy. Right? Kutiba alaykum as-siyam. This dhamma on the meme is for reading purposes. Right? Kutiba alaykum as-siyam. You have a sukoon on the meme and a sukoon on the sad, or the first sad there, since there's two with that shadda. You can't have a sukoon meeting a sukoon, irtiqa as-sakinain, so you put a dhamma there for reading purposes. Kutiba alaykum as-siyam kama, just like kutiba, it was written, it was prescribed, it was obligated, ala alladhina min qablikum, upon those before you. Right? Qabl here is majroor after min because it's a dharf. Qabl is a dharf, right? It's a dharf al. One second here. It's a dharf al-zaman here, right? It could be dharf al-makan, qablak, in front of you, or here it's amamak. Here it's qablik, in front of you, before you, in time. Dharf al-zaman, also we called it maf'ulun fihi, right? Min qablikum. So just as it was prescribed for those before you, al-ayat. This could be al-ayatu or al-ayati. Could be this or it could be that, right? Ala hasb as-siyaq, according to what is meant here, according to what is meant, meaning, what do I mean? I could say hakadha al-ayat because there's something more after here. La'allakum tattaqun, and perhaps that you may become of those who have taqwa, right? That's why you want to fast. The purpose of fasting is so that you may have taqwa, inshallah. So you can say hakadha al-ayatu or ila akhir al-ayati, right? Or udhkur al-ayati, making it mansub. It could be this or it could be that. It's totally up to what's missing here, right? It's totally up to what's missing in front of it. Hakadha al-ayah, like this is the ayah, or ila akhir al-ayati, until the end of those ayat, so on and so forth. Is that clear?
No.
Al-Baqarah 2, ayah 183. So this is the foundation for the principle for us to be fasting in the month of Ramadan. Point number 242. Right? Or should we read that point? We'll just read point by point. That's better. Let's read point by point. Abdullah. Just read
No.
up to.
الأصل فيه قوله تعالى يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم. الآيات البخاري 182.
البخاري.
البقرة.
البقرة. نعم. Yalla, Amir, Abu Sumayya, y'all don't want to read?
كتاب الصيام الأصل فيه قوله تعالى يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم. الآيات البقرة.
No. طيب, I guess Amir is busy. Number 242. ويجب صيام رمضان على كل. ويجب, from وجب يجب, and it is obligatory. What is obligatory? صيام, fasting. Ramadana, fasting Ramadan. The fasting of Ramadan is obligatory. Ramadan here is majroor, right? It is majroor, but it is mamnu' min as-sarf. So therefore, it becomes majroor with a fatha. It is mudaf ilay. Yajibu siyamu Ramadana ala kulli, upon every, right? Every. Kulli is majroor after ala, right? وَيَجِبُ صِيَامُ رَمَضَانَ عَلَى كُلِّ مُسْلِمٍ. Everything after kulli is always majroor. After kullu, kulla, kulli, what comes after kull is majroor. مضاف إليه. على كل مسلم, upon every Muslim. بالغ, بالغ, بالغ from ba, lam, ghain, meaning to reach something. Here, meaning to reach puberty. Baligh, right? Someone who is baligh, he's reached puberty, or she has reached puberty, right? Aqil, aqil, meaning intellectual, has an intellect, meaning he's not mentally handicapped, he's not majnoon, he's not crazy, he's not intoxicated or in a coma, right? Something like that, right? Aqil, intellectual. Qadirin ala sawm. Qadirin, meaning he is capable, he is able, right? Qadir, meaning able or capable. Ala sawm, he's able to fast, he's capable of fasting. Sawm is majroor after ala, right? Bi ru'yati hilalihi. Bi here meaning with, right? So a Muslim, baligh, aqil, qadirin ala sawm, the one who is a Muslim, reached puberty, has his intellect, right? And is capable of fasting. Does he have to fast right now? No. Bi ru'yati hilalihi, with the sighting, ru'ya. Ru'ya from ra'a, meaning here, with the seeing of the moon. Ru'yati, the ta marbut has a kasra after the ba, the harf jar. It's ismu majroor. Majroor with a kasra. Bi ru'yati hilalihi. Ru'yati hilali is mudaf mudaf ilayh. So hilal has a kasra on that second lam. Hilal is the crescent moon.
Crescent or just moon?
The crescent moon.
Okay. Okay.
Al-Qamar is the moon.
Okay.
This is the hilal. And when it's full, it's called, when it's a full moon, it's called al-Badr. Right? Al-Badr. And it's always the qamar. It's always the moon, right? So, hilal is the crescent. When you see the new moon, right? When you see the new moon, the ru'yat bi ru'yati hilali. And when you see the new moon, the crescent moon. Oh, or ikmali, from kaf mim lam, or completion. Here, kamal here means not perfection, but we'd say completion. When something is complete, it's perfect. When it's perfect, it's complete. You don't add or take away. But here, we're going to translate it as completion, because perfection doesn't make sense. Ikmali. But why does it have a kasra on it?
Because it's part of the one before.
The one
Going back to that one.
Going back to the bat. Oh, bi ikmali. We just, as if we put a bat there, which we don't have to. We could, but we don't have to. Oh, bi ikmali Sha'bana, or the completion of Sha'ban. And Sha'ban is like Ramadan. It is mamnu' min as-sarf. It does not take tanween, and it becomes majroor with a fatha. Oh, ikmali Sha'bana, mudaf mudaf ilayh, 30 yawman. 30 yawman, or completing Sha'ban 30 days. 30 days. Completing Sha'ban of 30 days. 30 yawman. So, he's telling us here that we need to pay attention to the moon of Sha'ban. We don't just look for the moon of Ramadan, right? Rather, we look for the moon of Sha'ban as well, because we have to know when that month started in case it's cloudy on the last day, right? So therefore, we would have to know how to complete 30 days. قال صلى الله عليه وسلم, he sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, إذا رأيتموه فصوموا وإذا رأيتموه فأفطروا فإن غم عليكم فاقدروا له. متفق عليه. He sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, either, when or if, whichever one you choose to say here. Ra'aytumuhu, from ra'a yara, to see. Ra'aytumu. This meme here is because we're adding on, right? It's not really part of it. It's something I can't explain right now, but they add this meme there because we are adding pronouns and stuff towards the end of it, right? You can't really say ra'aytu, ra'ay. Let me see, ra'ay. I can't explain it right now. Ra'aytumu. This is extra though, and it's for purposes that we're adding on here, right? Ra'aytumuhu. This is plural. Ra'aytumu, and it is, this idha is a shart, which makes it majzoom. If you see it, ra'aytumuhu, meaning the hilal. Fasumu, then fast, right?
That is plural.
Ra'aytumuhu, yes.
But if you see it, or is it just got to match something? Because I don't understand.
No, it's plural. If you guys see it.
Oh, okay.
If you guys see it. If you all see it. You in English can be plural, singular, dual, right?
Okay, okay.
Idha ra'aytumuhu fasumu, then fast, as a command. If you seen it, if you saw it, then fast. Wa idha ra'aytumuhu, and if you saw it, meaning the next hilal, fa'aftiru, then break fast. From fa ta ra, like Eid al-Fitr. Eid al-Fitr, aftiru, right? Fa'aftiru, it's a command. Then if you see it, meaning if you see it again at the end of the month, then break fast. فَإِنْ غُمَّ عَلَيْكُمْ. But if it is cloudy over you guys, if it becomes cloudy over you, from ghain meme, غُمَّ, here it is passive. وَإِنْ غُمَّ. And if it becomes cloudy عَلَيْكُمْ, over you, فَقْدُرُوا لَهُ. Then Qaf, Dal, Ra, here it means then to estimate it, right? Meaning 29 or 30. If it's cloudy, then you're just going to estimate it as being 30, right? You're not going to say, well, tomorrow's the Eid because we're tired of fasting. Rather, you're going to just estimate it to be 30. Faqduru lahu. Then estimate for it. Same thing. In the beginning of the month, this فَإِنْ غُمَّ عَلَيْكُمْ فَقْدُرُوا لَهُ. This is whether it's in Sha'ban or Ramadan. So the last days of Sha'ban, if it's cloudy, you're going to do this فَقْدُرُوا لَهُ. You're going to do this estimation. We're going to say, no, we're going to do 30 days of Sha'ban and then we'll fast, right? And at the end of Ramadan, if it's cloudy, you say, no, we're going to do 30 days of fasting and then we'll break fast. This hadith is agreed upon. وَفِي لَفْظٍ, and in one wording, and in another wording, or in a wording, فَقْدُرُوا لَهُ ثَلَاثِينَ. Then estimate for it, ثَلَاثِين. Estimate for it, 30. وَفِي لَفْظٍ, and in one wording, or in a wording, لَفْظٍ, a wording, فَأَكْمِلُوا. Then complete. عدة شعبان 30. Complete عدة. Complete عدة, the number. عدة, the number. And it's mansoob here. Why? Because it's the maf'ulun bihi. فَأَكْمِلُوا. It's a command. فَأَكْمِلُوا عدة. What are we completing? What's the object of completion? عدة شعبان. And Sha'ban is majroor because it's mudaf ilayh, but it's mamnu min as-sarf, so it's مجرور with a فتحة. فأكملوا عدة شعبان 30. Then complete the amount or the number of Sha'ban as 30. رواه البخاري. رواه meaning rawa, right? He narrated, but when we add this who, this alif maksura becomes an alif mamduda. Rawahu, he narrated it. Who is the he here? It's clear. Al-Bukhari, you, right? Al-Bukhari, you. He is the fa'il. He's the one who is narrating this hadith. Any questions?
لا.
طيب اقرأ لنا يا عبد الله.
ويجب صيام رمضان على كل مسلم بالغ عاقل قادر على الصوم برؤية هلاله أو إكمال شعبان 30 يوما. قال صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا رأيتموه فصوموا فإذا رأيتموه فأفطروا فإن غم عليكم فقدروا له متفق عليه. وفي لفظ فقدروا له 3. وفي لفظ فأكملوا عدة شعبان 3. رواه البخاري.
طيب أمير.
ويجب صيام رمضان على كل مسلمين بالغين عاقلين قادرين على الصوم برؤية هلاله برؤية هلاله أو لإكمال شعبان 30 يوم. قال صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا رأيتموه فصوموا وإذا رأيتموه فأفطروا فإن غم عليكم فاقدروا له متفق عليه. وفي لفظ
You don't have to emphasize the een so much. Just say lafdhin. You don't have to say een. Just say lafdhin. Right? Lafdhin.
فاقدروا له 30.
30. Yeah.
وفي لفظ فأكملوا عدة شعبان 30. رواه البخاري.
نعم. أبا سمية.
يجب صيام رمضان على كل مسلم مقدر على صوم أو إكمال شعبان 30 يوما. صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا رأيتموه فصوموا وإذا رأيتموه فأفطروا فإن غم عليكم فاغفروا له متفق عليه وفي
نعم.
اللفظ فاغفروا له 30 وفي لفظ فأكملوا عدة الشعبان 30 رواه البخاري.
نعم.
I have something to say about that one too. I think that name normally it should have been Wahaitum, but when the name is brought as Omir to it, the spoon cannot remain on that name. They use the wow, like the pronoun can be pronounced. You can't have something like Wahaitum, Wahaitum too. No.
Alhamdulillah. I don't know. Could you guys hear what he said?
He got a little quiet at the end as he
No. I know he was trying to explain
Like
something
going
about the
down.
meme there. The meme was like I said, due to the adding of the pronouns at the end. But he's not clear. Even when he read, you're not clear, Abu Sumayya. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, yajibu siyam Ramadan ala kulli Muslim. So inside of here, we find that fasting is obligatory on every Muslim. It comes to the mind the idea of what do they say about the non-Muslims during fasting. And Nawawi, rahimahullah, and other than him, they say it's obligatory for the non-Muslims to not eat as well, right? And you cannot feed the non-Muslims during the daytime of Ramadan. Meaning if you have a restaurant, you should not be serving people even if you're fasting, right? And unless they're travelers, right? Or sick people. And as well as they should be fasting. And in the Muslim countries, if the non-Muslim is found eating or drinking during the daytime, they can be penalized. Couple $100 fine or something like that, right? It's illegal to eat and drink in the daytime, even for non-Muslims here in the Muslim countries, and many of them at least. And so it comes to the point, why should the non-Muslim not be able to eat? Because the non-Muslim should be a Muslim. And therefore, whatever they should be, or whatever the Muslim is obligated with, they are obligated with. And they're sinning by not being a Muslim. And therefore, they're sinning by not eating. But some people say, what is there after shirk? Like, what kind of sin is there after shirk? So it doesn't matter what they do after shirk, right? That's the worst thing, and so therefore it doesn't matter. However, there's a difference of opinion. Allah knows best. The strongest opinion is that you should not feed them, and you should not be giving them to eat or to drink during the daytime of Ramadan, because what the Muslim is obligated with, they're obligated with as well. They just don't believe, and they're just being rebellious. Should the Muslim close their restaurant during Ramadan? If you have that opinion that it is haram to feed the non-Muslims, and not because it's a financial opinion, because my restaurant says, I'm gonna go broke and people aren't gonna come during Ramadan, therefore they're not gonna come back after Ramadan. No, that should not weigh in on your decision of the opinion. Rather, you should look at the opinion and say, which one seems to make the most sense, right? If I didn't own a restaurant and my money wasn't dependent upon it, and I looked at it, how would I look at this issue? And you look at the issue and you determine what's right. And if you determine that it is not permissible for them to eat, then you can close your restaurant and you open it up at night and you work late. So instead of being open from 10 to 10. You open up from, example, 7:30 till 2:30 in the morning. And you'll have a crowd of people who will be pleased with you during that time because they want to stay open late and they want to come hang out at late at night. You have Muslims who will come support your restaurant eating after Taraweeh. And you as well have Allah Azza wa Jal pleased with you, and when Allah is pleased with you, He makes the people on the earth accept you. So don't worry about that. Balighin, meaning the one who has reached puberty. Does that mean the one who has not reached puberty cannot fast? No. Rather, in fact, the Salaf used to order their children to fast when they were young. How young? Young enough that when they started to cry from the pains of hunger and thirst, they would give them a ball to play with and that would satisfy them. Now you say, how old is that? Well, how old is the kid that's satisfied with a ball? If you give a 10-year-old a ball and tell him don't worry about hunger, go play, is he going to go play? Or is he going to say, man, I'm hungry, I don't care about soccer? Well, then that 10-year-old, it starts younger than that, and younger than that until the point where you can give that child something to play with and will preoccupy them from their hunger. And the Salaf used to start their children out young. Aqil, we already explained. Qadirin ala sawm, meaning he's not sick. He's not sick, he's able to fast. Right? Or meaning that could be just daily, meaning today I feel good but tomorrow I'm sick. Tomorrow it's not obligatory upon me because I'm sick, but the next day it will be obligatory upon me again if I feel better. Or it could be dealing with someone who is ajiz, someone who is not able to ever fast because of his old age, someone who is so old that fasting would cause him to become sick. Fasting would cause him to become sick. Right? Then this person is not obligated to fast, and as well as someone who is sick and he'll never ever get better. He has a sickness that he'll never recover from, and these rulings will be talked about inshallah ta'ala. Bi ru'yati hilalihi, with the sighting of its crescent, o ikmali sha'ban 30 yawmin. Any other questions? طيب. وَيُصَامُ بِرُؤْيَةِ عَدْلٍ لِهِلَالِهِ. وَيُصَامُ. Who can tell me how to translate this? Yusamu.
Things like after fasting, or start fasting after.
Okay, who can tell me the word for to fast, the root, the past tense and the present tense? Sama yasumu. Sama yasumu, to fast. So here, this is not yasumu, but yusamu. So it is passive, majhul, right? So who is it referring to, or what is it referring to?
Those who fast.
Yusamu.
After fasting, those who already fast.
Okay, if we have Sama, he fasted, Yasumu.
No, going to fast.
No, Yasumu. Sama, he fasted, Yasumu, he is fasting. Yusamu is different than this right here. Yasumu, he fasts, or he is fasting. Yusamu is majhul, it's passive.
You're going to fast.
No, it's passive. Not what he's going to do. Because he is going to, we still know who the fa'il is. That's ma'ruf. So yusamu is what?
He is to fast.
Whoever's going to fast.
No. What'd you say, Abu Sumayya?
He is to fast.
He is to fast? That would be a command. No. It
I'm
is.
saying he is to fast.
Huh?
No.
You should fix your microphone. I don't know what.
It's too fast. Can you hear me?
We hear you, but it's not clear.
Wow.
He's saying it's too fast.
Yeah, it is fasted. It is fasted. Yusamu. See, yasumu. We know who. Yasumu. We know who's fasting. Right? Yasumu. Yusamu. We don't know who's fasting, but we know what is fasted. Yusamu, meaning Ramadan.
Wow.
Yusamu. It is fasted.
Okay.
Bi ru'yati adlin. Ru'yati, with the seeing, with the vision. Adlin, of one who is adl. One who is adl. One who is just. One who is truthful and trustworthy. It is fasted, meaning Ramadan. Yusamu is referring to Ramadan, not the person, but the month. Yusamu bi ru'yati adlin lihilalihi, with the sighting of a righteous person, a just person, a truthful, trustworthy person of its crescent. Right? So here, the key thing here is adlin, with basically one righteous person. One righteous, truthworthy, trustworthy, truthful, just person. One. Adlin, one. وَلَا يُقْبَلُ, and it is not accepted في بقية الشهور إلا عدلان, and it is not accepted from, again passive, it is not accepted في بقية الشهور, في بقية الشهور, and the rest or the remaining from baqiya, the remaining of the months, shuhur, the plural of shahr. But Allah knows best. Ashhur is better. I'm not trying to correct As-Sa'di rahimahullah, but ashhur seems to be better. Ash-shuhur has another meaning as well, but both of them can be there. Baqiyat ash-shuhur, the rest or the remaining of the months, illa adlan, except two just righteous people. So he's saying here that the rest of the months, the sighting of Sha'ban, the sighting of Shawwal, the sighting of Muharram, Dhul Hijjah, Dhul Qa'dah, Safar, any of the other months. It takes two just, trustworthy, righteous witnesses. Right? While Ramadan, yusamu bi ru'yati adlin li hilalihi. While Ramadan is fasted by the sighting of one just person of its moon, right, of its crescent. وَلَا يُقْبَلُ, and it's not accepted. فِي بَقِيَّةِ الشُّهُورِ, بَقِيَّةِ is majroor after fi. الشُّهُور, and يُقْبَلُ is majhul. It's not saying he doesn't accept, but it is not accepted. Right? Fi baqiyat ash-shuhur, meaning one witness is not accepted. Fi baqiyat ash-shuhur, in the rest of the months, baqiyat ash-shuhur mudaf ilay, illa adlan, except two righteous people. Right? Except
That's
two.
Starting.
That's for starting a new month. Yes. And that's also the ending of a new month, because the starting of a new month is the ending of the last one. Right? The starting of a new month is the ending of the last one. And it doesn't matter here. We can see Adlin. It doesn't matter if it's a male or a female, as long as the person is adl, and as long as they are of reaching a age where their testimony is accepted, as long as they reach an age where their testimony is accepted, right? Someone who's adil, you say, well, he's a little kid. Yeah, but he's a little kid. He's not someone who, if we put him on the stand in a courtroom, that his testimony would stand up. This adil is the one who he's just, he's truthful, he's trustworthy, someone who we can depend on his citing, his testimony, right? If we don't know who he is, how is he? How is he? Right? We don't know if he's a righteous person or not. He's just someone we, right? Then we say we're not going to accept him because it must be the ru'ya of an adil, the righteous person, right? A righteous person. So this means, and Allah knows best, the righteous people, those who have their beards, those who are not listening to music and singing, those who are known for praying in the masjid, those who are known for making their nawafil prayers, those who are known for, these things which are outward signs of disobedience, you would not take from them the sighting of the moon. You see on CNN, they announce it, the sighting of the moon. No, CNN is not an adil. It's not someone who is just and trustworthy and truthful that we would take their testimony, right? CNN announcing it. No. Fox News, whatever the case you might want. Al Jazeera, no. You must see it with your eye. Bi ru'yati. Not with a telescope, not with, even though some scholars say with a telescope is permissible. Bin Baz and other than they say it's permissible. It should be, Allahu Alam, though, with the naked eye. And they say with the telescope is with the naked eye. And alhamdulillah, something you can look into. Right? Bi ru'yati adlin. You see it. Not with the calculations. Not with calculations and saying, well, the sun is here at 33 degrees and at this time of the day it'll be seen and only at this time and it can't be seen. No. If a person sees it, it does not matter what science so-called determines it can be seen or not seen. If a adil, a righteous person, sees it, then it's accepted no matter what science says. And we'll get into that. As for the question, does a pregnant woman who fears for her health have to fast? This is going to come. This is going to come, inshallah ta'ala, soon. وَيُصَامُ, meaning Ramadan is fasted, بِرُؤْيَةِ عَدْلٍ لِهِلَالِهِ. Right? He is referring back to yusamu. It's fasted. وَيُصَامُ Ramadanu بِرُؤْيَةِ عَدْلٍ لِهِلَالِهِ. And Ramadan is fasted with the sighting of a just person of its crescent moon. وَلَا يُقْبَلُ فِي بَقِيَّةِ الشُّهُورِ. And it is not accepted in the rest of the months illa adlan, except for two just people. Any questions before we read and conclude?
لا.
طيب اقرأ لنا يا عبد الله.
ويسام برقية أدل لهلاله ولا يقبل في بقيات الشهور.
Not baqiyatu, baqiyati.
بقيات. That's it too. بقيات.
You said baqiyat. You said baqiyat.
Oh, okay.
Baqiyati.
بقيات الشهور إلا أدلان.
طيب Amir.
ويسمى برؤية أدل لهلاله ولا يقبل في بقية الشهور إلا الأدلان.
Not ilal, but illa adlan. Don't put a L. Don't put a L at the end of illal. Illa. right? طيب.
إله.
نعم. أبا سمية.
فيصام برؤية قبل قبل هلاله ولا يقبل ببقية الشهور إلا أدلان.
نعم. Allah يبارك فيك. Inshallah ta'ala we'll meet tomorrow and we'll read some more and we'll get further bi'idhnillah because we won't have the introductory stuff we went over. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
عليكم السلام.